Blaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's Friday, and that right there guarantees that it's okay. Now, all of you see in the background Bridgestone Arena. It's quiet. It's pretty empty. Not so fast. 3 hours from now, this place will be hopping. I mean, absolutely hopping.
George, what just happened?
Well, I don't know. I don't really know.
Hold on. You keep talking. I'll fix the camera.
Okay, that'll be good. Anyway, suffice it to say, we are at Bridgestone Arena, and in 3 hours, this place will be probably as loud as it ever is because the Blue Mist are in town. That's all you got to say. Kentucky and Gonzaga in what ought to be a terrific night of college basketball. It really ought to be something pretty amazing. There we are again. Sadly, you're having. But let's get the show started the way we always try to. And that's with our daily Titans update. And here is Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, and TitanInsider.com. Terry, what is the big story?
Well, George, I think the big story that people are talking about with this game beyond, the storyline of Myles Garrett and the storyline of it being Cam Ward taking on Shedeur Sanders, I think the biggest thing people are talking about is what the weather's going to be like up there. And I know that's a subject that's near and dear to your heart. It's going to be about 34 at kickoff with snow and winds of about 15 miles per hour. So it's certainly not an ideal situation to throw two rookie quarterbacks into and expect a lot of production. Therefore, George, your over-under for this game, I think, is 33.5, which is the lowest any game has been this year.
The other over-under is how many sacks does Myles Garrett get? Because he clearly has become the pass rusher of this era. Terry, no way they're able to handle him one-on-one.
No, I don't think so. They're going to have to chip him. In fact, we kind of jokingly threw it out there when we had our session with the offensive coordinator, Nick Holtz, on Tuesday, but it actually probably wouldn't be a bad idea just to play in these conditions, especially just play the game with 6 offensive linemen for the most part. Have an extra tackle out on the field for as many snaps as you can, unless you're in, obvious short yardage passing situations like 3rd and 3 or something.
So when you say snow on Sunday, are we talking flurries? Are we talking big time accumulation? And your best bet is to say, look, I'm not a weatherman. Things can change. What are you hearing?
I'm not a weatherman. Things can change. There you go, George. But what they are saying is about an inch of snow plus the wind shifting up there with that lake effect. So who knows what could take place. There was a time way back when it wasn't supposed to snow up in New England, and it came a blizzard, and the Titans got obliterated 59-0 that day. So strange things happen when the white stuff starts to come down and changes the complexion of the field and the game.
Boy, do I remember that well. That was not a pretty day in Titan history. Okay, anything else you want to throw out there?
A couple of guys are going to be out Sunday. Jalen Armour-Davis, don't think that's a surprise, still dealing with an Achilles injury. And Lloyd Cushenberry will miss this game, 2nd week in a row with a foot injury.
Okay, we'll leave it that way. You're going to Cleveland.
I'm headed there tomorrow.
Do you expect to get back to Nashville?
That's a good question. I'm leaving Sunday evening, so hopefully so.
Well, if all works properly, we'll talk to you Monday, same time, different arena.
All right. Sounds good, George. Have a good one.
That's Terry McCormick. He, of course, is Main Street Media, and he is TitanInsider.com. And yes, that picture that you're seeing is way too close. We'll try to work on that during the break. But take a look at this beautiful arena, which has stood the test of time in incredible fashion. In 3 hours, jam-packed. This is going to be an SRO crowd. SRO as in standing room only. And the blue mist will descend big time on what's a really good college basketball setup. Kentucky and Gonzaga. I'm excited about it because I'm going to get a chance to see it. But first, we have the award-winning update. What award? Heck if I know.
Award-winning is right, and that is
Yeah.
sponsored by the Tennessee-Illinois basketball game, which will take place tomorrow at this very arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. And while I'm at it, George, how did the ticket giveaway go yesterday at Sports and Social?
You know, the two people that won the tickets, first of all, I made it clear to them up front, you're going to have to help me to see to it that you get your tickets.
Okay.
In other words, the transfer of power could be a little shaky.
Yeah.
Others who have received gifts from the people have discovered that I don't totally know what I'm doing.
I'm sure they were happy, though, that at the thought of a
thrilled.
free giveaway.
They were absolutely thrilled.
So to start off this update, I have a little bit of sad news. Former SEC Commissioner Roy Kramer has passed away. George, you knew him, correct?
Oh, I knew him well. You know, even he passed away last night at the age of 96, and he led an incredible life. And it is so ironic that basically this gets announced on the eve of something that he created, which is the SEC football title game. I remember going to the first one at Legion Field in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember it not being that big a deal at the time. And I remember giving away tickets on the air the day before. Well, what ended up happening is it became the title game of all league title games. And it is so ironic that Coach Kramer passes away right as we're getting to one of his greatest creations. In his 90s, he would still come to our Middle Tennessee chapter of the National Football Foundation. I can remember, I want to say a couple of years ago was the last time we got the chance to visit. Truly an amazing individual.
Yep.
Roy Kramer passing away last night at the age of 96.
He was one of the greatest. He was one of the greatest. So I did a little bit of digging because I'm very curious about
Research?
a little bit of research.
On your end?
Yeah, I
You're
know,
kidding.
right? I'm taking a step up.
Okay. I can't wait to hear
Vandy,
this.
because I figured out who Vandy had been in talks with about this, 13th game that would be played in Puerto Rico, actually, because it cannot be
Puerto
played.
Rico?
Yeah, it cannot be played in the mainland. So it's either has to be played in Alaska, Hawaii, or somewhere out of the country. They talked about Puerto Rico. They were in talks with Miami, Notre Dame, and Utah for the 13th game.
By the way, if you're wondering, they just sort of dimmed the lights in
So
here.
we got a little bit of a light show going on
Yeah,
today.
we do. Kind of a freebie. Okay, did it, best as you can tell, did it go anywhere?
No, that's why they're not playing the game. I don't think the other teams were interested.
Yeah.
Specifically Miami and Notre Dame,
Yeah.
because
I
they
can
already
see
have too
that.
much to lose. Utah, on the other hand, though, has nothing to lose. But
Yeah.
the NCAA didn't allow spring games. Colorado and Syracuse tried to play one, so they're not going to allow this.
That's the next thing that is going to happen is that spring games will end up getting used as revenue for schools. It makes no sense the way it is now. If you're going to have NIL and you're searching for every last dollar, then why not have the spring game be, for instance, Kentucky?
Yep.
A Kentucky-Louisville spring game.
My gosh.
It might start a couple of fights.
Yeah, sure.
But it might be pretty cool. Or Kentucky-Cincinnati, or
They have
go wherever.
exhibition games in basketball.
Yeah.
So this is an exhibition for football.
Why not?
Preseason NFL.
Why not?
George, we had talked about this several times about who Penn State should go after, and they're making it official that they are trying to figure out this agreement with Matt Campbell of Iowa State. The contract, I've been told, is laid out there. They're just waiting on agreeing to terms, but he appears to be the guy.
Well, here's the thing: as the light show continues here in the arena, they're having some fun. Up till now, Penn State has butchered this. We all know that. But if they end up with the right guy, it really doesn't matter.
As long as he can coach some football.
I happen to think Matt Campbell is the right guy. You heard me babbling Matt Campbell really early.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why he wasn't on their list at the beginning?
I don't know.
Dumb.
They fired James Franklin before anybody else did to get a head start, and yet they're one of the last teams to fill the vacancy.
James basically took about 2/3 of their recruiting class with him to Virginia Tech. I don't know a lot about recruiting, and frankly, I don't really care. But Penn State's rating right now for incoming freshmen is like at the bottom of Division I.
There are 136 FBS schools, and they're 150th. That should tell you all you need to know.
That does.
Austin Thomas, who is the general manager at LSU, was announced today that Lane Kiffin is not going to retain him, and I think that is massive because Austin Thomas was quietly one of the better GMs in America.
Does it say who he's bringing in?
It does not.
Wow.
It does not, but it just said that Austin Thomas would not be retained. I think that's very interesting.
And all of a sudden here in the arena, let there be light.
Let there be light.
Yeah.
Just like the good Lord said.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about this Legend Bay drama? Legend Bay, well, you just said you didn't follow recruiting. He's a wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver that is committed to Tennessee.
Oh, I just assumed Legend Bay was a golf course.
I mean, it does sound like a golf course.
Here at Legend Bay, I parred the 15th hole. Yeah. Okay.
So he signed with Tennessee yesterday. He flipped from Ohio State, but not on his own accord. Here's the interesting part. He originally committed to Tennessee, then flipped to Ohio State, then flipped back to Tennessee and signed with the Vols yesterday. But it's because his mom wanted him to do so. So he signed with Tennessee because of his mom.
Mama knows best.
But he did not want to. He did not want to. So it's just sad. It's just a sad story. It really is. George, I don't know. It's so hard to focus with the light show.
So here's what they're doing. This is what goes on in an arena before a big game. They test out lights. They test out the scoreboard. And we happen to be broadcasting from the band stage, where the band between periods plays in right where I'm sitting right now. And of all the times I have been in here to do broadcasts, I've never done one from the band stage.
I'm glad they can't see my face right now because I just got blinded.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
John Sumrall at Florida has made his first hire on the coaching staff. And George, you'll be familiar with this.
Hey, it's a buddy of mine.
Buster Faulkner, the former offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech.
So let me say this. Buster was once the offensive coordinator at MTSU and did a really good job when Rick Stockstill was there. As is the case in that business, you end up having to do a lot of moving around. Buster has been an analyst on Kirby Smart's staff. He went to Georgia Tech, where either he made Haynes King famous or vice versa. And now he's going to Florida. And I haven't talked to Buster, but I have a feeling this was a really difficult decision because he's got a son, high school age, who I believe is a quarterback down in Georgia somewhere. And, but this is a really good promotion.
Sure.
To me, the next step for Buster Faulkner is that he become a head coach on the Division I level. And I will, on this show, predict that in the next 2 years that will happen.
I think John Summerall is going to crush it at Florida. I love John Summerall.
Yeah, and the people down there need to give him a chance.
Right.
You know, they don't feel like he won the press conference. Screw that.
Man, he doesn't care about a press. He doesn't care about a press conference.
These football games are played, you know, on the field. By the way, Tulane plays North Texas tonight. And I'm guessing, I don't know, is Summerall coaching?
They're allowing him to finish out his run with the Green Wave. And Eric Morris will not be coaching for North Texas, I believe. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I did not know that.
That's why I picked Tulane to win.
Okay.
Ryan Silverfield has made a couple of hires at Arkansas. Offensive coordinator Tim Cramsey, who followed him from Memphis, and defensive coordinator Ron Roberts, who actually came over from Florida. So I don't know much about them, but I know he made them the coordinators today. Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback at Florida State, seeking a 6th year of eligibility from the NCAA. That has been denied. I think we don't have a huge issue with that.
What was his basis for it?
Basically, he redshirted 1 year and, argued that didn't count. And trying to find all these different.
Well, you can understand it because they, they're getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, and the rules around redshirting did change. It used to be if you played in a game or Division III, I know is if you even practice, that counts as 1 year of eligibility. So now you get up to 4 games.
Are we done with the update?
I have one more thing.
One more item.
And this one just came down the pipe about an hour ago. But Georgia is seeking $390,000 from defensive end Damon Wilson, who transferred to Missouri while he was still getting paid from Georgia. So part of his NIL contract. And now they're seeking damages from him. So,
well, let's just call it what it is. We are living in different times. Into the update?
That's the end of the update.
Okay. After the break, you are going to meet the promoter who has put together something that I never dreamed could be done. And that is 4 what I would call blue bloods in basketball in a weekend here at Bridgestone. Kentucky Gonzaga tonight, Tennessee Illinois tomorrow night. Brooks Downing will join us here at our broadcast site, which is the band stage at Bridgestone Arena. We'll go to the break. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Friends, Celebrity Bowling Night. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust. here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Oh, we have got sunshine on a cloudy day. Look at that picture. Those of you who are watching by way of the podcast, yeah, Bridgestone Arena is empty now. But this guy set up a home run that absolutely could not fail. Kentucky Gonzaga tonight, Tennessee, Illinois tomorrow night. He is the promoter. He is Brooks Downing, and he is my friend.
So, George,
and it is great to see you.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so I warned you up front that I was going to ask a stupid question.
Yep.
When you came out of school, I suspect you wanted a lifetime in sports in some form or fashion.
Correct.
Okay. But my guess is you never dreamed it would be doing this.
No, not at all.
So you got all these kids now who are sports administration majors, and schools are, that's now a degree that people can earn. But to me, it's much more the practical experience, the practical advice. If somebody wanted to be the next you, what advice would you give them?
First, that's really a stupid question.
By the way, I knew that.
But let me see if I can answer it. You know what? It is. And I've tried to tell people, if you're a young person and you're in college and you can walk over to your athletics department and volunteer, just get your foot in the door, be a runner, be a cable puller, whatever it may be on game day or throughout the week or between classes, whatever your schedule allows. My aha moment was at Kentucky as a student, and applied in the Kentucky Kernel, the school paper, for a broadcast. I wanted to be a George Plaster.
Really?
A master
You're
plaster.
Smarter than that.
A master plaster. And I applied for this job. I'm like a sophomore, and I get a call a couple weeks later. I may have told you the story. And it's an upperclassman who had been selected as a broadcaster with the campus radio station. And they asked me if I wanted to keep stats. And I knew stats, but I hadn't really kept stats. But I said I couldn't say yes quick enough. And that Saturday, I rode up the elevator at Commonwealth Stadium there in Lexington for a UK football game. And the doors open, and there was the field, and there was the press box. And I went, well, this is what I want to do.
I've made it.
I'm sitting next thing I know, I'm sitting next to Kaywood and Ralph, and they're in the one booth, and we're in the other booth. And I'm like, this is pretty darn cool. I need to figure out what my path is. But it's one thing to just get your foot in the door, pay your dues, try to learn something. There's so many opportunities in athletics now where it's just a melting pot of every industry. You want to go in healthcare? There's training, student training positions. If you want to go into accounting, there's there's no more business being made these days than in college athletics. So, it's got something for everybody. I went the PR route. So I was in the sports information after the radio deal. And I just tried to learn something. I became a better writer. I became a better communicator. And more importantly, I started meeting people. And when you start building those relationships in the business,
the mental Rolodex,
that, I tell you, it is priceless.
You think Parker understands that yet?
Parker, he's got potential.
Mental Rolodex.
Look at that hair. He's a good looking guy.
Whoa, my God. Kelly Holcomb gets all over it. So for a younger audience, they probably have no idea who Kaywood Ledford was. Kaywood Ledford was one of the 3 broadcast legends in the SEC. Kaywood Ledford at Kentucky, John Ward at Tennessee, and Larry Munson at Georgia, and certainly throw in Jack Crystal. I don't want to, slight anybody. The SEC had some legends back then, and I absolutely kind of worshipped at the ground of listening to both John Ward and Kaywood Ledford. And then when I got to know Kaywood Ledford, it was even better. And of course, Ralph was a piece of work.
Yeah.
This is Ralph Hacker, and he had that authoritarian. Tell me
Radio
a little
voice.
bit. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the legendary Kaywood Ledford.
Well, it was my first job. And when I got out of UK Sports Information after an internship, he hired me. And so I made that relationship that started several years before that. He brought me on as a young reporter for him. I helped with his pregame radio shows. He had radio shows every day like you do that I assisted with, recorded programs that would go out to a multitude of stations across the Bluegrass. And then we would, cover games on game day and all that business, and did a paper that, one of the 2 newspapers that covered Kentucky sports. And so I had that job till he retired. And again, he retires. I get back into sports information at the KHSAA running state tournaments in Kentucky. And then 3 years later, Kaywood calls Rick Pitino and says, you need to hire Brooks as your PR guy. And so that's how I became the SID at Kentucky. I knew Rick.
Really?
Rick knew me. But if it wasn't for that phone call from Kaywood, wouldn't have happened.
What was the connection between him and that fan base that went from just, oh, he's a nice announcer, to dadgum near worship?
Well, tip of the hat to Jim Host for creating the Kentucky radio network. He was the pioneer in our business, right, George? And so he picks out Kaywood because back in the day, in the 50s, the whole press row was a multitude of radio stations, everybody broadcasting. Nobody had an analyst, and you had to be either good or they were going to change the channel and listen to somebody else. And so Kaywood gets selected. There was another individual that had gotten sick, would have been the guy. Kaywood was the guy that was ultimately chosen.
Really? I'd never heard this.
And so Kaywood goes on not only do the Kentucky network, but the NCAA radio network, and creates that voice. And we all know radio was even bigger back then, right? It was more important. It was a mainstay as how do you consume media, along with television that was just burgeoning at the time. And so people grew up. He was that voice, that connection. He painted the picture on the air of what was happening on the court. So you were seeing it through his eyes, and he was a master communicator. And, whether he was, which direction the team was going, left to right on your radio dial. I mean, he chimed all of it in, and you just knew every second of every play thanks to him. And he became part of the family.
We're talking with Brooks Downing. At least I was. I got all choked up there, apparently. So Brooks Downing is the promoter of a weekend in this city. If you love college basketball, you better be here. Gonzaga, Kentucky tonight in 2 hours and 31 minutes. And then Tennessee, Illinois, which is the rematch of an unbelievable game a year ago up in Champaign. We'll get to that in a minute. I got to keep going on the Kaywood part. I've told you the story. SEC broadcasters meeting. I'm 23 years old, and I'm sitting next to him. And he goes, so what's your story? And I said, I've been listening to you since I was 8 years old. And he faked a heart attack. He said, you're killing me. But very humble.
I mean, his last game in 39 years of calling the Wildcats, his last game ended up being the Kentucky Duke game in '92 that everybody remembers in Kentucky, the infamous Christian Laettner shot. Say no more. But even up to his last game, knowing he was going to retire, he prepared for it as if it was his first game of year 1 of 39. Like, he never backed off his preparation, his methodology that he used, just everything he did from start to finish was the same focus every time. And that's what made him great. Just great.
What do you think he would think, Brooks Downing, the promoter who pulls this off this weekend, which is just insane?
He would have lost money like everybody else. He lost that bet. I tell you what, it's I think I don't even think. Yeah, I mean, even my wife, she would have lost money too. But when I told her I was going out on my own, she goes, "But I like my life the way it is. I'm going to need a little bit more support than that." But nonetheless, here I am, and again, I praise the Lord above. He's carved a path out for me that I never would have envisioned. I wanted to be the basketball SID at Kentucky, and I really set my mind to it. And the year before, I tried to be the football SID at Kentucky, and some guy named Tony Neely got it instead.
Oh, I think I know.
I think I was interviewing, and he was out picking out his house, moving from Vanderbilt. And so Tony, who I love, he's like a brother. He and I tag teamed. It was like God had a plan. Football better at the time, but I'm going to make your dream come true. Just bear with me. Be patient. And next thing you know, the next year the job comes open, and I sweated it out, but I landed it, and I really didn't have any. I either wanted to move up or out. I didn't want to have a career in sports information the rest of my life, like some of my
bunch
colleagues.
Of bums like me you have to deal with.
Exactly. We all know who they are, and we love them.
We're looking at one of them.
But I wanted to I wanted to move up or out, and out opened up. And so I, again, didn't really have a plan. It was going to be private business. And you know what I felt like, George? I could get out. I'm going to learn something from some people that have been successful in business. And if I need to get back in, I'm going to get back in at a higher level. Where I want to be in college athletics. And once I got out and got the taste of, basically being a sports entrepreneur, I couldn't go back. This keeps me involved with the game. We've got the golf component we head out in January for with 3 weeks down in the Bahamas, running 2 Corn Ferry Tour events to start next season, each season. And so, between our golf or our basketball, it's got some other things in the pipeline that, we're working on. So baseball, we just announced for the Bahamas, and for Disney as well is coming up. So I'm just excited about where this can go. We just kind of keep throwing things at the wall and see what sticks. But I tell you what, Nashville has always been a market we've had our eyes on. We've talked about it for a multitude of years. Our friend and colleague Robert Sampson, who lives down here, I know he's close with you.
Why is he taking pictures of us? That'll end up in a post office.
We suckered him in to help us out from time to time, and the next thing you know, he's like, "I think I can help you do a lot of things down here." And I'll tell you, Robert has been a big champion of us, and here we are with 33,000 tickets sold over the next 24 hours.
Amazing.
And I'm pretty excited about what the future holds.
Oh, you'll love this question. What are some of the obstacles that you can tell a person watching this or listening to this? What are the kind of obstacles where not everybody can just roll in and create Kentucky, Gonzaga, Tennessee, Illinois? What kind of things make doing that hard?
Make doing that hard is one. I mean, there's so many components. It's like, wow. Yeah. I mean, you have to sometimes have the stars align, right? You got to have the venue that's available. You got to have a date that works for both teams. Obviously, you have to have willing teams, right? You have to be able to. In our business, you got to be able to take a risk. There's a lot of gambler and folks like me, and a lot of people that are strong in faith, because otherwise it's not for the weak of spirit. Let me just put it that way, because there are games. We had one last year, Arkansas, Illinois, Thanksgiving Day on CBS right after, and then Illinois is playing in our event. It's coming on after the Bears game, and we have 5.2 million viewers on CBS, the second most watched game since 2008 in college basketball. And I had 3,500 people in the building. Couldn't sell a ticket on Thanksgiving Day in Kansas City. Wrong location. Would have loved to have been here, just didn't work out. And so we end up Kansas City and couldn't sell a ticket. And so next thing you know, you look at your balance sheet or your P&L, and it's it's all red.
Not what you want it to be.
The wrong color.
So, you mentioned Rick Pitino, and most of my knowledge of Rick Pitino comes from a very close association with Ralph Willard when he did such great work at Western Kentucky.
Yep, and started at Kentucky on Pitino's first staff in 1989-90.
What's Pitino like?
You think you're going to the moon one minute and you're living in purgatory the next. Thankfully, we didn't lose much. Once or twice a season when I was working for him, and so he was his emotions were tied to the win loss column, and fortunately he had his system in place, and he was just a phenomenal coach in every sense. Could recruit, could coach the game, could teach, could motivate more than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, you took a guy, the best example was Nazi Muhammad. Nazi came from Chicago, must have weighed 350 pounds, 6'10", 6'11", and literally shed a person. He starts a JV team in college basketball at that level just so he'll get to play because he wasn't good enough to play with the varsity, basically. And so next thing you know, you've got several guys that are all playing this JV schedule. And we're playing these small teams around Kentucky and Tennessee. And then Nazi goes on and turns pro early after his junior year.
Yeah.
And plays 15 years in the NBA. And if it wasn't for Rick and motivating him and teaching him how to be a pro, he never would have done that. And so he could take people, he can mold them, he could shape them. He's just as good as they come. And you see, he's doing the same thing at St. John's now.
Yeah. I remember a dinner at the very end of CM at Vandy. He's still coaching Vandy, but in April, he will move to Lexington and become the athletic director.
Yep, I was there.
And I remember a dinner one night where he said to a group of us that were involved in Vandy that I guess he and Kenny Walker had kind of hooked up, and Kenny Walker was making the real introduction of Rick Pitino, CM Newton, and the rest pretty much history.
And he had to wait. He had to wait through the NBA playoffs.
Right.
There was no Lane Kiffin situation here. He had to wait through the NBA playoffs until the Knicks got beat to be able to actually make the formal offer and get the commitment, which was a long time. His backup plan was he was going to coach the team. CM was, with Kyle Macy as the assistant.
Really? Whoa.
Yes.
Hold on. This is new info.
Yeah. Yeah,
Say
that was the backup plan.
Say that again.
Now you're in April, and if you remember this, the hiring cycle in college basketball was always right after the season. I mean, you might bleed into May, but that was about it. We're now late June, and so there's like hardly any commitments. There's no recruiting. You got the team that's coming back, and I think we may have had two players, Henry Thomas from down here in Tennessee, and Jeff Brasso were the first two on Rick's team, I believe. And I can't remember if there's anybody else or not. But nonetheless, he was waiting, and his backup plan, if he had said no, was we're going to wait a year, and I'm going to get the right guy in here, and I'll just coach the team. And that was his backup plan, and Kyle Macy will assist me.
I'm shocked. I've never, as close as I was with Coach Newton, I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
And Kyle would have been great.
Would have been great. And became a coach, and a successful coach at Morehead.
Yeah.
But it was CM was the best. I mean, CM coming into that program was the right hire at the right time. And like you, I remember being at the SEC tournament. I can't remember if it was Knoxville or here. I think it was Knoxville that year. Eddie Sutton's last season. He's limping to the finish line. And oh man, it was a long season.
If you remember, the next year, so Coach Newton had been the AD at Kentucky for almost a year, and Kentucky is ineligible at the SEC tournament. And somehow I got the rights to carry the games locally on bankrupt radio station WTN, where I work. And that's you talk about a 30, talk about a 30 for 30. So who do I select as I want Coach Newton to be my color analyst? And it was so cool.
That's neat.
It was, and he got a big kick out of it. And then he got quoted in the old Nashville Banner as saying, you know, I've recommended George for a bunch of jobs. I don't know if he's any good or not.
He had such a great sense of humor,
Oh.
but you would not always see it because he had such a stern coach-like mannerisms, and yet he was pretty darn funny all the time. And now you got his son Martin Newton, who's the athletics director at Samford. He's on the men's basketball committee. I think he might even be chair this year.
Yes, he is.
I mean, like, just father like son.
And I told him, I said, Martin, somewhere in here, your dad knows.
Yes.
And he's smiling on it. Pretty amazing stuff. Where does this one, being able to pull off a weekend of two, you know, top 20, top 25 programs in the same weekend, where does that rank of stuff you've pulled off in the promoting world?
Well, I got to think that it's at the top. I mean, we're 13 years of just BDG sports, 13 years old. And now we're starting to mature as a company. Everybody pretty much in the sport knows who we are because we do so many games. We did 39 games last week, NCAA men and women, Bahamas, Fort Myers, game up in Cincinnati and so forth, all that thing, Feast Week, if you want to call it. And then we got the 3 this weekend. I don't think we've had 3 like this ever on a weekend that compares. Our biggest game to date was probably in 2021, the day after Thanksgiving. We had Duke and Coach K's last year and Gonzaga in T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Pretty cool.
And set the record for the largest crowd in the state of Nevada to ever watch a basketball game, over 21,000. And so here we are going to be close to that here tonight. I think there's just a handful of good seats left. You want to come out. They're scattered around, but come on down. Love to.
You won't get 4 together.
Yeah, you might not. I think there might be less than 100 tickets left. So
wow,
you got that. You got that. We even have a game tomorrow, Indiana and Louisville. Already a hard sellout in Indianapolis tomorrow at 2 on CBS, and then tomorrow night back here with Tennessee, Illinois. Still some really good seats. Not sold out completely there yet, but getting close.
Thank you for coming over here. You realize you and I could do this. We could do like one of these 2-hour like infomercials.
Oh, yeah.
Of stuff we know and people we've both run into. But you gave me a Mid-South exclusive. I had never heard that CM story.
Yeah.
Brooks, thank you.
We can always pull things out longer we talk.
Brooks Downing has been our guest. Boy, what a weekend he has pulled off here.
Thanks for all your help in promoting it, George, and hope to see everybody down here, and I hope to be a mainstay. We want to stick a flag in the ground here in Nashville and have a presence, whether it's with Kentucky or others.
Good place to do it, Bridgestone Arena. After the break, you know what? Adam English not only is a Nashville Sounds general manager, he is a diehard Kentucky fan, Lexington native. He will join us after the break. We'll find out what's going on at the ballpark on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Papa Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
This dream, and we're very glad to have them. That's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back, and let me get you to move that up, just a tad. That's Adam English. Normally, he's the general manager of the Nashville Sounds. I don't know who this person is, except he looks like he's part of what Hugh Durham termed, in one of the greatest terms I have ever heard, blue mist.
Absolutely. Yeah. George, it's such an exciting weekend for Nashville and for me. I love being able to watch the Cats, and diehard Kentucky fan. I still am the general manager of the Sounds, but I usually represent the brand a little bit better than,
right.
But always happy to rep Kentucky.
So you grew up in Lexington.
I did.
And you don't really have much choice in Lexington.
That's right.
Either that or they'll throw you out. What's the greatest moment you remember for you when it comes to Kentucky basketball?
Man, that's tough to. I mean, the Calipari years were incredible. I was downtown Lexington when we won the national title in 2012. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite personal experiences was I was in Rupp Arena when Rick Pitino came back home as the head coach of the Louisville Cardinals. And boy, there was a stretch in that game where we hit a three, stole the ball, got a dunk, stole the ball, dunked the ball again. Ricky P called a timeout, and boy, I thought the roof was going to come off of Rupp Arena. And that one for me, it was really special. And it's also really cool to see how Rick Pitino's kind of come full circle with the Cats and with our fan base. When a coach who wins a national title, lost in overtime to Arizona in the second year, and then Tubby Smith comes in and wins essentially with Rick's team in 98, not taking anything away from Tubby Smith. But the comeback Cats in 98 were incredible as well. But, he was royalty, and he talks about Lexington as Camelot, right? Like to see him go to our biggest rival, he's going to be hated. And then now, full circle, the captain of the 96 team, who I'll put up against any college basketball team in history, is maybe the greatest team in the history of college basketball, the 96 Kentucky Wildcats. To have that captain, Mark Pope, leading our team now and having our fan base kind of re-embrace with Rick Pitino has been really cool to see.
So I was Vandy's announcer in that 96 deal. We got beat, and I want to say the number is a combination, the two games, like 80-something points. And for me, it might be personally just physically getting to see the greatest team I've ever watched in person. That 96 thing was just a blitzkrieg.
It was an incredible group of players, and they play that fun, kind of pressing up and down style of basketball. And the game's changed so much over the last 20 years. But yeah, just an incredible team, bunch of shooters, bunch of people, just a really great team of basketball players, which is and yeah, I mean, they went on an incredible run. It was great.
So in your real world, what's going on during the winter that involves the Nashville Sounds First Horizon Park?
Yeah, I mean, we've really been working to plan for just a tremendous 2026 season. We've really been putting in the work for probably about the last 5 or 6 months. We really start in kind of June brainstorming ideas, putting together ideas for giveaways, promotions, what's working, what's not. I work with such incredible people, and we've been hard at work planning out 2026, and we're really excited about some of the stuff we have coming. I can't announce a bunch of things yet, but we are very excited for the 2026 season at First Horizon Park.
How good is it to feel, because when obviously the city, it was a big deal to the city to build a new ballpark, and you get, I don't know, a 2 to 3, 4 year honeymoon phase where people come out just to see a ballpark. Well, that's no longer the case. This ballpark is 10, 11 years old, and you all are still putting up what feel like honeymoon kind of numbers, but it's more y'all's brainstorming.
Well, it is. Honestly, what I'll put a lot of credit to just our organizational commitment to community. We're a little bit different than some of the other teams in town. Not in the way all of the teams in Nashville give back to the community, but we truly are. 75% of our fans live, work, and play in Middle Tennessee. So we truly try to give back in as many ways as we can. We try to connect to as many different people as we can, different organizations, different nonprofits, and really through the great work of our corporate partners like First Horizon Bank, like Vanderbilt, with their children's hospital, try to do as much as we can. And our philosophy truly is, if you do right by community, the community's going to do right by you. And I think that and the combination of working with incredible people and people who buy into the work that we do leads to a connection to our fan base that we've been really beneficial. That's been really beneficial, and we've really benefited from. And I think we've benefited the city of Nashville as well.
And it's fun.
It is. We've had a tremendous amount of talent come through. The Brewers draft and develop. Jacob Mizorowski.
Oh, wow.
Throwing 105 miles an hour. He pitched in the All-Star game. He spent the first 2 months with us. Jacob Mizorowski is one of the names. You look there's a bunch at the lineup for the team that had the best regular season record in Major League Baseball last year, the Milwaukee Brewers, and it's all but one of them came through Nashville, maybe one or two. Bryce Terang, his ascension's been incredible. Platinum glove.
Sal Frelick.
Soon many.
Chad Patrick.
That's right, Chad Patrick. Isaac Collins was in the running for National League Rookie of the Year. It's just the names that come through Nashville and go make an impact up there are incredible.
Yeah, you're exactly right. What can you tell me, or maybe you can't, and I'm going too far. You've had a midwinter event that I love, and I'm thinking you're doing it again.
We are. We do have plans. I can't make the official announcement yet. But there will be our winter warm-up event. It'll be sometime in the January, February timeframe. Look out for an announcement probably shortly after the first of the year. But we'll have another one of those type events. We love being able to connect with our fan base over the winter time. Love being able to connect through, and really, this as well, being in sports is for all of your career, is that once you get through that, once you basically get to the Super Bowl, it's not long after that pitchers and catchers report. There's about to be a ton of baseball news in the next 7 days. I'm flying down on Sunday. We're going to Orlando to baseball's winter meetings, and there's a ton of buzz. There's some big time free agents. Baseball's in the news for the next week, and then pitchers and catchers report, and then the springtime in baseball is something that's so special because it truly is just like anything can happen. Right? There's no wins, there's no losses. Everyone's in the race, and there's such an optimism around spring training and getting your team back to your city and seeing how the journey is going to go for 2026.
I need a yes or a no really quick.
Sure.
Are there any Gonzaga fans who are Sounds fans?
Probably. I'd welcome them as Sounds fans. That's the great thing about minor league baseball.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
absolutely.
who you like. We want everybody to come enjoy our ballpark and our fan experience. I look, I'm a diehard Kentucky fan. We play Rocky Top at the stadium. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna give the people what they want.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's Gonzaga fans. I mean, and hopefully there are Gonzaga fans. We'll welcome you. Hey, Gonzaga fans who come to the game tonight, anybody who's here, come check out First Horizon Park next year too.
Well done. Hey, thanks for coming over here.
My pleasure.
Adam English is the general manager of the Nashville Sounds, although you may never know it tonight because he'll be part of this throng that's going to gather in 2 hours at Bridgestone Arena. Hour number 1 is in the books. Watson Brown will join us. It's a big weekend of championship football. This is the George Plaster Show. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Has been helping people in this area. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Putting zone, well, guess what? It's now open. Here's David Levy of Levy's Men's and Women's Wear in Green Hills.
Hey, George. As a 170-year-old clothier, we are loaded for the holiday season with great gift items for you or your significant other. Plus, we have front door parking, experienced associates to answer your questions, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable, even for you. This holiday season, treat yourself to a touch of luxury without any of the fuss. Levy's Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den. With bold looks, cozy favorites, and gifts that will make you and your loved ones smile. Come visit us at Levy's and let us help you celebrate the holidays in a relaxed, friendly atmosphere with plenty of front door parking, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable. Levy's, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den.
The perfect gift, lavish and luxurious, yet affordable, breathtaking and joy-inspiring, yet simple for you. The gift card from A Moment's Peace. A spa day she customizes exactly the way she wants. Give her the gift she won't buy herself. An escape, a bit of luxury, something special that shows how much you care. A gift card from A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Call 615-224-0770 or go online at amomentspeace.com.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win back your life. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Tennessee Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Got to do stat of the day. That's okay. Stat of the day.
Look into the camera.
Brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. I got a good one. Last night, LeBron James scored under 10 points. It's been the first time LeBron's been held under 10 points in a game since what year?
It is one of the most remarkable records, and I don't pretend to know the exact year, but this has been like 15 years in the making that he finally didn't crack 10 points in a game. Think about that. Think of the level of consistency. I'll just take a stab at it and say 2008. I was
Look
close.
at that. Look at you. You were very close.
Yeah.
Close, but no cigar.
Cleveland Cavalier.
Cleveland Cavalier, LeBron James. I've been told we have Watson Brown on the line.
Absolutely. Now, if you're wondering what all the noise is in the background, we are at Bridgestone Arena. We are actually broadcasting from the band stage. I've never done a show. I've done a lot of shows here. Barrel House, gosh, the rally on the concourse.
Did Maggiano's for the first time yesterday?
Yeah, I've done a lot of shows, but I've never done one inside the band stage. Coach Watson Brown joins us for his weekly Friday visit. And listen, right off the bat, we need to bring up the man that brought Watson Brown back to Vanderbilt, and that is Coach Roy Kramer, who passed away last night at the age of 96. Watson, he was a pretty incredible human being.
George, he's a great man. He was a great man, and he was special in my life. So, gosh, did he touch a lot of different things. I mean, he was the first. He put together the SEC championships in football. He was the first to put together the BCS, which I was in some of those meetings and later on with Mike Slive. So I mean, he's just. He's done an awful lot. Coach and I went through a lot together. The whole goal was to redo McGugin Center, which we know now it's been redone again. I guess it has since we have. I think some of it's still the same. But that took us 5 years because we had to come up with every penny of it before they would let us start to redo it. And so we were on many, many, many trips raising money through that time.
Watson, what do you think was his proudest for him accomplishment in sports?
I've never asked him that. Never did. I know he's gotten credit for two major things. The football championships in the SEC and the start of the BCS. I think those are the two things I hear people talking about the most. So that's what I would bet you he would say. I never did ask him that.
You know what's interesting about that, Watson? It's a slam dunk now to say, well, heck, anybody could have created the SEC football title game. It's a can't miss. But I remember back in 92, 93 when it started that there were a lot of people saying, this isn't all that good an idea.
Oh, yeah. No, it was controversial, honestly, George, when it started. There were a lot of people that didn't think it was a good idea. And then it's amazing now that he's passed away just days before the championship game is played. And the other thing is where there's so much discussion now of, is it smart to do away with the championship game now with the playoffs in place like they are? And that's why the game, to me, Saturday is going to be interesting. People have asked me, how did Texas pass Vanderbilt? I said, because I think the committee wants to make sure everybody knows we don't want you easing these schedules to a point that you wouldn't take a shot and play an Ohio State just because it would hurt you if you lose. I think the same thing's going to happen Saturday in the championship game. If Alabama loses, do they get to stay in with 3 losses? And I'm going to bet yes, unless they get embarrassed, and I don't think that would happen. But I think yes, because there's so many people and TV, everything do not want to do away with those games. And if Alabama loses, George, it's going to tell, and don't get in, it's going to tell everybody, do we need to be playing these games? I don't care how much money it is. Do we need to be doing this? So it's interesting that these things are being discussed as Coach passes away.
So, Watson, I've got this theory that if it goes the other way, Georgia wins in a pretty considerable margin, and Alabama were to get thrown out, that what will change in the future is that the SEC title game will actually become a doubleheader. It will be 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and 1 and 2 will never play anymore. What do you think on that?
Something will have to change if Alabama does not get in. You watch. I don't know exactly. You might be on it. Do they keep it and change the format of it, where it's maybe the bottom 2 trying to fight to get in, as far as the bottom 2 playoff teams I'm talking about, would fight to get in, and that might be Texas and Vanderbilt this year playing each other again. You know, or maybe it would have been Oklahoma and Texas playing each other again, which would have been really interesting. I'm not sure that there wouldn't be as much interest in seeing one of those games, George, as they would one playing 2. I just think the committee won't do it unless Alabama really puts them in a tough spot and lays an egg. And if they do, and then they have to take them out, I'm going to tell you now, there's going to be a bunch of presidents and conferences doing a lot of talking in the off season. Watch the other one. Watch the BYU one too now, the BYU Texas Tech game. If BYU plays them really close, if they play them really close and lose and don't get in, what are they going to say? You know, did it help me any? It looks to me like it didn't help me a lick to play this game. Now, if they win, it's helped them a bunch because it'll put them and Texas Tech in and knock somebody else out.
Watson Brown joining us for his weekly visit from up in Cookeville, Tennessee. Those of you who are watching this, who are wondering what's going on, this is part of what happens in an arena is all of the stuff as they try to rehearse beforehand. And when they hit that music in the background, I always think of the Chicago Bulls and that PA announcer who was great, and he'd yell out, "Bill Cartwright." Watson, it's been my gut feeling that the committee has basically patted Vandy on the head and said, "You're a cute story, but we're paying no attention to you." What do you think?
You know, I won't be that harsh with it. I try my best not to get on the committees too bad. I wish they'd look at who they got in those things and who's making those decisions. But they've got everything in front of them and what they're doing it on. And the arrest officer sitting on the outside and guessing at what they're trying to do. And so it's Vanderbilt, it's Texas, it's Utah. It's Virginia. There's some really, really, really good teams right there on the mix, George. And it just tells me that I think it needs to be expanded. I do. I think we need to go a little further than this. And especially if we're going to keep group of 5 in the mix. And as I told you before, the original BCS, later on, after Coach was not the commissioner anymore, it was Mike Slive at this point. Our Conference USA commissioner, Britton Brunowski, and myself, the AD representative for the Conference USA at UAB, we were in those meetings. And we went to these meetings. They let us come as the representatives of the group of 5 to get a possible way of being in the playoffs. And way it ended up working out then, you had to be so highly ranked to be considered at that point, and I think it was in the top 10. I mean, you had to be way up there. And so it was remote if one was going to get in, but I do think we got one in, and later, a couple of 3 or 4 years later, that was ranked up there. I can't remember who it would have been now, but somebody would have got in before it's gone now to 12. And so I've been through this and fought hard for a group of 5. And now, being a group of 5 guy, I was a Power 5 guy and a group of 5 guy as an AD. And now I just don't believe in the 12 they deserve to be there. I just don't. And unless they're ranked really high, I would put it down as if you're not in the top 6, you won't be considered. Because there's too many good football teams that are better than. But if we lengthened it more and got it into the low 20s or something, where there's 8 people that get a bye and then everybody else plays, and then comes the winners of those play the 8. It's kind of like the FCS is now. Then I think they would deserve to be there. But I just, if you're trying to find the 12 best teams in the country, George, and you're holding a spot for the group of 5, no matter who it is, it's a good enough one. It's eaten up one of the top 12 spots. It sure is this year. What I'm arguing for right now plays out perfectly this year. Putting in a Tulane or North Texas, or maybe even 2, believe it or not. If James Madison were to win tonight and then Duke wins, that's a possibility 2 would get in. Then we're not doing the 12 best teams in the country. So let's quit saying it's the 12 best teams in the country.
So, Watson, one of the things I've learned in working with you over the last 5-6 years is you're really good at the eye test. And I want to know what your eye test tells you about Indiana attempting to stack up tomorrow night to Ohio State. Is there a big gap or is there not?
No, don't think there is. I really don't. And, George, this is what's happening, and people are going to have to get used to this. This is totally what the NIL and the transfer portal have done to college football, college athletics, but really college football. You now, if you've got money and you have NIL possibilities on top of that, I'm not talking about money from the outside in a collective and then universities putting their money in to pay the players. I'm also talking about Los Angeles, California, where you got great NIL possibilities of getting hired and using your name, image, and likeness and paying you $1 million to do this commercial or whatever. When this all came about, this is the product of Indiana, 100%. I think the coach has done a great job. I'm not taking anything away. But I'm telling you, there's no way Indiana is where they've been the last 2 years without this change in the way things are happening. But the change, Ole Miss, that's why I said to many people, I don't think that you got to look at this as some form of a lateral move to go to LSU, because Ole Miss has got money, and it's proven to be, and they're ranked 6th in the country. Where's LSU right now? They're not anywhere close. So if you've got the money and you've also got NIL possibilities for the kid to make more money, not through the university, you got a chance now. It's not as much, George, of what's on the side of that helmet anymore. It really isn't. The Longhorn on the side of that helmet now isn't near as important as it used to be. That's why the middle down all of a sudden now can be in the top. And Indiana is a perfect example of that. There's another one sitting there in the same situation. It's called Texas Tech. They spent a bunch of money, and look where they are. It's a different world we live in. And now everybody's got a shot, in my opinion, if you can come up with enough money. That's sad to say in a lot of ways, but it's also going to be a great equalizer as we go on.
Watson, I've been going through a bunch of scenarios, and this is the one that I keep thinking of. If BYU loses to Texas Tech tomorrow in Dallas, they're likely out of the playoff, which would therefore pin Miami and Notre Dame right next to each other in the rankings. So what I'm thinking of is if you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and you take out the jelly and you have the two pieces of bread, which is, in this case, Notre Dame and Miami, and their resumes are very comparable, but the head-to-head result, that can't be ignored, right?
It shouldn't be. Then if it's going to be ignored, then don't put it in there. Don't have it in part of your criteria. I think what the committee is doing with this is it was so early in the year, they're not giving it as much credit. If it was mid-season, I think Miami would be in front. Am I defending the committee? No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm throwing out a piece of why I think, and Notre Dame is, since they lost early, both games early, they've gone on a long run and been impressive in the run. Whereas Miami is kind of lost some games in between and even won some games where they didn't look near as good. I think the last few games Notre Dame has played, the dominance they've shown against, I was surprised in the Pittsburgh one. And then Miami turns around and does the same thing to them. Give them credit. But that's the only thing I can come up with that would put that the committee has not put Miami in front of Notre Dame. And I'm anxious to see if it stays there. I don't know why it would change. If that was your criteria last week, how do you turn around and put them in front this week? Whereas Texas went in front of Vanderbilt and Utah, to be very honest. And Utah was in front of Vanderbilt at first, and then they ended up behind Vanderbilt. But Texas beat Texas A&M, the number one team in the country, and really beat them solid in the second half. Really, really won the game. Now, I think A&M's quarterback was hurt. I think Reed's sprained ankle showed in the second half, and he made some plays that he hadn't been making. But they beat the number one team in the country. That's different to me, and I can understand why they got bumped. But I still think they got bumped because they don't want people turning schedules into gimmies, and they're giving them some credit for going to Ohio State and losing by a touchdown.
What do you think about Vanderbilt? Because I was listening to Hunter Yurachek, the committee chair, talk about this on Tuesday night, and I'm not saying Vanderbilt should be in the playoff, but Alabama hopped Notre Dame because they thought the win at Auburn was impressive. Meanwhile, Notre Dame absolutely dominated Stanford. Now, I believe Alabama should have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame to begin with, but that was what they said. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt goes to Knoxville and empties out Neyland Stadium in the fourth quarter, and Vanderbilt doesn't move, but Tennessee is excluded completely from the rankings, which they should have been. Do you think Vanderbilt has a legit argument in your mind to be included in the top 12?
I don't argue for anybody. I think Vanderbilt deserves to be in the major discussion on this weekend. I'm not going to throw what I think because I don't know enough. I do not know exactly what they're doing in those rooms, and they're supposed to be, because I was in the meetings that set all this up. They're supposed to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got a definite thing you go down, and they go up or down off of each one of those criteria. And so I don't even know exactly what the criteria is. There is no way Vanderbilt should not be in this discussion at the end. And that doesn't mean I think they ought to be in or they ought to be out. I think the discussion should go all the way to Utah. And after that, I think that's about it. But I think down through there, all of those would still be in my mix to be discussed on the weekend. And if Vanderbilt got in, I'd rather play maybe Texas. I'd rather play BYU than I had Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt would be a very tough draw because of their offense and their system and the one player that does what he does with a lot of good players around him. He's got a lot of skill around him that are good players, but he's just different, and he's different in a way of stopping him. I think he's the toughest stop in the country. He runs like a fullback. I mean, he'll run over you. He runs like a tailback. He'll run around you. And yet he can make all the quarterback throws. I think he's the toughest stop in the country. I wouldn't want to mess with him. I think they're also hard to defend, to go against defensively, because they give you a lot of different looks, and they're not afraid to take chances. I think they believe in their offense so much. They take a lot of chances. I think they knew early in the year they weren't going to be good pass rushers with 4, and very seldom do they bring 4. I mean, they come after you when it's time to come after you. So I would not want to play them. I'll say it that way. I think it would be, especially their offense. I would not want to have to, in a week's time, try to get ready to stop that offense. They were really impressive against Tennessee.
Watson, I'm not sure if you've heard, but I've been making a strong push on this show to one day be elected college football commissioner, and I have an idea, and I wanted to run it past you to get your thoughts. So I'm not an expansionist by any means.
Yeah, good luck on all that, buddy.
Hey, I got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Got to start somewhere.
Sure.
So ideally, I'm not an expansionist. I'd like to stick at 12. I really love the home field environments that we get in the first round. I'd love to see them in the second round. What would you say about, because I watched the Rose Bowl this past year when Ohio State just slaughtered Oregon, and to me, as someone who loves the Rose Bowl, it was almost kind of disrespectful that you have the Rose Bowl being played in a quarterfinal matchup. What would you say to maybe having home games in the second round as well for those teams that get the first round bye? They get to host the second round games, and maybe having the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl, those types of games outside for teams like a 10-2 Vanderbilt, who more than likely will go to the Citrus Bowl, but instead of that, they get to play in the Peach Bowl. What would you make of that?
I'm more of a football coach in this thought. I don't like home field, period, for winning or losing. I think if Tennessee had played Ohio State on an equal field last year, that would have been a much better game. I think when you go to on an away game on those dates, it's a 7 to 10 point advantage, and that's not what the playoffs are supposed to be about. I like the way the NCAA does it, and it's always on equal court. The NCAA does basketball; it's always on equal court. I've been an AD and taken teams to those, and we beat people in some games. I remember, George will remember this one, when we beat at UAB, we beat Kentucky. If we're playing that in Lexington, we'd have had no shot.
Yeah.
And so I'm just not for that. I don't think that's fair. Now, you want in so bad. I read where Clark said, we'll play them in a parking lot. We don't care. And that is absolutely true. But if you want to be fair, I think they ought to all be on neutral sides. And I think in time they will, because
even the first round games.
I think before it's all said and done, the first round games will be on neutral sites. They're doing it long enough to get it to where TVs can sell it and to where they can get the fans to come. And the longer this goes, the more everybody's going to love it, and they'll be able to sell them out wherever they are. That's my opinion.
See, I'm with him, and I think that's how you keep the bowls alive, is you hook these first and second round games to bowls. Then you got something.
That's what I say. And the only reason I don't think they did that is because they didn't know if they could sell them out. And they don't want 3/4 of the stands full in a playoff game. But as this goes on, they'll know they can. And I think it'll end up doing that. Before it's all said and done, we'll see. I may be wrong. And I don't think it's going to be tomorrow this happens, guys.
Okay, you want me to end it?
I mean, I have another. I
No,
mean, I
well,
just
then
didn't know.
go right ahead.
I didn't know how long we were going to go. So I've been on several recruiting visits back in the day when I was wrapping up high school, Watson, and I'd go to these small group of 5 schools, and they would tell me, "Hey, our end goal is to compete for championships." And in my mind, I'm thinking, "Okay, that's great, but are you talking about the same trophy that Alabama and Georgia is competing for?" To me, it just doesn't seem fair that James Madison, North Texas, Tulane are hypothetically competing for the same trophy that Ohio State is. Do you think it's fair that we're forcing the highest ranked group of 5 champion into the playoff?
No, and that's why I think that I'm for taking them out. And boy, you wouldn't have got me to say that 20 years ago. When I was in the meetings fighting for it, 100% we're fighting for a spot. And even if it's you got to be in the top 6, just give us a spot that we have a shot. Because the NC2A basketball, that's so different. Basketball's got 60-something teams there. Football at that point had 4, now 12. You'll never, till you take them out, you will never get them to have their own championship because they're all sitting there saying, no, I don't want to be the one to take us out of this. I'll fight for this championship, even though I know it's about impossible. But here's the difference to me. There's now going to be such a difference. It's going to even be a bigger drop as this NIL and transfer portal keeps rolling. They're in the money in the group of 5s. You go study right now the money the group of 5 are spending on a player compared to what the group of 4 are spending on a top quarterback or a top offensive tackle or a top corner, and they can't touch it. So it's even making it harder for them to stay. I think there will be a bigger discrepancy in talent in the next 2 to 3 years. So if I'm the group of 5, I'd start to realize that. I mean, where is the point that they're looking in the mirror and saying, how can we stay with these guys? How in the world can we stay with these guys? And so that's the way I would look at it. But you're not going to ever get the group of 5s to say that. The committee that puts all this together is going to have to basically drop them out or make it so hard like it was when it first started. Make them have to be, the team has to be, for a group of 5 spot, the team has to be listed in the top 10 of our top 10 for them to have a shot in the playoffs. But if they're not in the top 10, they don't even get a look. They're not going to get one in. And until they get to something like that, you're not going to see a championship on the group of 5. But if you do a championship in the group of 5, in my opinion, after being in it for years, that will sell. People will watch that game. They will end up with more money on the group of 5 level if they would go to a playoff system and a championship game, just like the Power 5s would do. They would make a lot more money than they're making right now.
Watson, final thing, Georgia or Alabama in your mind?
I just think it's hard to beat somebody twice. And I also think Georgia's a better team today than they were then. I think Alabama is a good team, but it's not a great team. I think Alabama is ranked by the committee about where they should be. And I think Georgia's ranked where they should be. So that's why I would pick Georgia to win it this time over Alabama.
Thank you as always. This is awesome. Appreciate it.
I love it. Love you guys. Always an honor.
Watson, it's on our end. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
We've had a crazy show so far. Man, we've had a light show.
We've almost been blinded 3 times.
Blinded by the lights, yeah. Here's what I want to do. I want to open up the phone lines, and I'm looking for 4 red-blooded Americans who've got something they want to talk about in the world of sports. I don't care what it is. I just want to open the phones. And then at the end of the show, I have 6 plays for this weekend designed to either bankrupt you or make you a bunch of money. And based on recent history, you should pay no attention to what I'm putting out there. Phone number 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949. Be patient. If you get a ring, get in there. If you don't, try it again. I'll let you know as soon as the line comes open. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
The official home of the 4th annual Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Man, it's perfect music. Blinded by the light.
Blinded by the light.
Because here's what's going on. They're putting all the spotlights out there. We're at Bridgestone Arena for those of you who are just joining us. In an hour and a half, Kentucky and Gonzaga will go at it on national TV. I saw Carl Ravitch. I saw Jimmy Dykes.
Yeah, I saw Jimmy outside.
Jimmy's a good man.
He is.
Known him for a long time. Anyway, they're doing the game on national TV. Those of you who are in here tonight, you're in for a real treat, man. They have loaded up the wagon with some good stuff. Okay. I'm looking for 2 more callers to fill out a sellout. Yeah. 615-759-9949. I don't care what it is you want to talk about. Here we go. John in Nashville on line 1. Welcome.
Hey, George. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I just had something to point out about Diego. I love him as a player. I think he's great. Probably one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. But my concern is his family. And I think they're not only ruining his chances at the Heisman, but also ruining his chances at an NFL draft. Because if I'm an NFL scout and your brother's been arrested at Vanderbilt, and then they're like, oh, okay, we'll just go to Tennessee. Oh, we'll get arrested there. Like, and they brought the bus up from Albuquerque, the whole 9 yards. I think his family is ruining his chances at going further into an NFL career.
Well, let's go one by one here. First of all, I don't think it'll have anything to do with the Heisman one way or the other. The Heisman is going to come down to tomorrow night, in my opinion, of what Fernando Mendoza at Indiana does or doesn't do. If he leads Ohio State to a win, he's probably going to get the Heisman Trophy. If he bombs,
the Heisman committee doesn't want his family there.
well, no, they may not, but that doesn't have a damn thing to do with how the votes go. I was a voter on the Heisman years ago, and that's simply a bunch of sports writers and sportscasters who ultimately cast their vote. Now, whether the Downtown Athletic Club wants all of his people there, that's a totally different story. On the NFL front, you know, deep down, I'll believe he ends up in the NFL when I see it. That said, the Canadian Football League, he will kill it.
All right.
I
guess
certainly hope so. Hey, George, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Okay, so just because I say it doesn't mean it's so. Any disagreements?
Talking about the NFL with Pavia?
Well, just the whole what you heard.
Well, I think if he wins the Heisman Trophy, I absolutely do think he'll get drafted. Now, it most likely will be in the 6th or 7th round, but I think it'll happen. Now, we'll see what happens if he flames out, but you're right. CFL, even the XFL or UFL, whatever they call it nowadays, I think he'd be a great fit.
Billy on line 2 is
Billy
now,
dropped.
okay, Billy dropped, so let's go Kenny the mailman. Kenny, how are you?
George, it's so nice to talk to you, old buddy.
Same here. You doing okay?
Well, it's Christmas, so I'm about halfway giddy and halfway sleepy.
Yeah, in the mailman world, Christmas is a busy time.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But listen, I'm giddy because of last Saturday. I've just been walking around all week just grinning. I didn't even have to say anything. People just know. And I wanted to ask you, as a longtime Vandy fan, what did last Saturday mean to you? Because I hold Neyland Stadium in such high regard. When they dropped Vandy in the AP, one spot down for winning by 3 touchdowns in Knoxville, I just didn't understand that at all, because that's one of the hardest places in the world to play. And one of the best, I didn't know, I always listen to the radio call so I can listen to the Vandy side of it. And with a minute to go, I never thought I'd hear this in my lifetime. Andrew Allegretta said, well, fans, the only 3 colors I see left in this stadium is black, gold, and aluminum. That right there is a T-shirt. I would definitely buy it.
Yeah.
So I just want to take a minute and hear what this meant to you.
Yeah, I'm going to toss it in a different direction, and thank you for the call. I think I'm happy for people that stuck it out for a long time. It has never been easy to be a Vanderbilt athletic fan because there's been a lot more thin than there has been thick. Just look at how few times they've beaten Tennessee over the last 50, 60 years. I think that's the group I'm the happiest for. And I guess I'm happy for Clark Lee. I'm particularly happy for his dad, who I know really well.
Yeah.
Who I suspect is just totally giddy.
Right. No, I'm very happy for Clark. Just getting to talk with him over the last few weeks. He seems like the perfect guy to lead Vanderbilt. And George, I've been saying how I think Pavia has proven that Vanderbilt can be a destination because you can win there. They're in the heart of the SEC in Nashville. Who doesn't want to be in Nashville right now? And they land a 5-star quarterback in Jared Curtis, flipped them from Georgia nonetheless. So I think he's proven that Vanderbilt is a destination.
Well, only time will tell.
Sure.
Whether this is a long term, whether this is a moment in the sun.
Because you got to stack years, right? You got to stack years.
Kenny on line 4, you are next up. Welcome.
Hey, George, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Just a quick comment and then a quick question. I absolutely love it listening to Watson Brown talk. Coach Brown was a great coach. You know, I know his record didn't reflect that at Vanderbilt. A man way ahead of his time as far as offense. I mean, I just love hearing him talk because he's so informative, and I really appreciate that you still have him on. And then the question is, in the past, the award that Diego just won for being the top quarterback in the country, isn't that like what they used to give? Like, I used to always look at it like a death sentence when it come to the Heisman, because it's like they want him to have something, but he's not going to get the Heisman. And you go back far enough, George, to where you probably remember a lot of the guys that have won the Davy O'Brien, but didn't win the Heisman. And do you think that that's kind of and I'm all for Diego. I love him to death. His family ain't got a thing to do about it. They're having the time of their life. Maybe they could scale it back a little bit. But, you know, if my son was doing the same stuff with Diego, I don't know if I wouldn't be waving a flag and kneeling. And I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. I've never thought of it the way you did, that it's kind of the consolation prize to the Heisman. I don't know really logistically how it could be, because the Heisman thing in the past was a deal that mailed out to us when I was a voter, and I'm sure it's now electronic, but I don't see how that's really possible. I'm going to go back to what I've thought all along. This is going to come down to tomorrow night, and it's Fernando Mendoza's trophy to probably win or lose. And, it's on a big stage against Ohio State. If he does great, he's going to win the Heisman. And if he bombs, I think Diego Pavia is going to win it.
Right. I think it's entirely dependent on what happens. Vanderbilt's best case scenario, if you're rooting for Diego Pavia to win the Heisman, is it's a defensive slugfest, and neither quarterback really blows you away. I think that's the best case scenario for Diego Pavia.
Jeff in Murfreesboro, you're up next.
How's it going, George?
Good.
I just want to say I'm up Kentucky can play well side against Gonzaga, and I'm hoping the volleyball team will take care of business in Memorial against UCLA tonight in the second round of the volleyball tournament. They got a real great chance to get to Kansas City, hopefully win a national championship, even though Nebraska's undefeated right now. They're number one team in the country, and they lost to them in Nashville up there at Bridgestone early in the season. But guys, about Pavia, what's his NFL status? Think he can help the Titans out?
I think I could help the Titans out. No, seriously.
You have experience, George.
No, at fifth grade.
Pavia's so good. He helped Vanderbilt to win 10. So he might help the Titans win 16. I didn't know. He's so good and everything. I thought he might help them win 16 games. And you tell me, George. Y'all got him Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay, if you want to be a smart aleck about it, that's fine, but do it somewhere else. If you want to talk legitimately, because you're trying to be snide about it, and I'm tired of this.
Well, I'm asking the question. What do you think? You think he can play in the NFL?
My gut feeling is that it's less than 50-50 that he really gets the opportunity, and it's a height issue. Maybe he's able to get past it, but I think it's really going to be tough.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like Joe Theismann. He might be. Joe Theismann wasn't very tall either when he came in, so he had a pretty good pretty good career as well. And also, George, as far as Mark Stoops goes, I want to say this one thing about him: 13 years, he deserves everything. As far as I'm concerned, Mitch Barnhart should be gone too. He treated him like crud. He should have had another year to do it, but he didn't. That's okay, I guess. But will he coach again? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know if he will or not. But I'll just say this: the fact that it wasn't on SEC Network and all these other ones were, Lane Kiffin and Goulash and Auburn and the rest of them, shows you how much they respect Kentucky athletics. But tonight we're going to take care of Gonzaga, I hope, and we own over as one school cares about basketball in this league. This Kentucky and the rest of them are like Pintos, and we're the Rolls Royce. You have a good weekend, Dave. See ya.
Ryan on line 5. You're up next. Thank you for waiting.
I had no idea what that was. But, George, I want to thank you for having the bowling event on Monday night. If there's anything that you can do, we got to get you to run for mayor, because we got to bring Major League Baseball to Nashville. And you would be the person to do that. I mean, you would heal the roads that need to be, paved in Nashville and bring baseball to Nashville. So with the Diego thing, I think you're right with Fernando Mendoza. He's either going to win or lose it on this game, and if not, Diego wins it for sure. So thanks for the bowling event. I have fun. Robbie Stanley is a bowler for sure.
I love it. He's also really good at talking hockey. Ryan, thank you for the call. I'm not running for mayor.
You're not running for mayor, George?
No, I'm not running. I am not running for mayor.
Come on.
However, let me say this about the Major League Baseball thing. I don't know where it is right now. It's hard to know, because ultimately, until you know who the owner is that's going to step up with that kind of cash, it's hard to evaluate. What I do know is that MLB loves this city, and they'll love it even more when they see the production that's going on here tonight. But seriously,
Nashville's booming.
Yeah, seriously, this isn't dead in the water by any stretch. And to quote the Carpenters, we have only just begun.
We've only just begun.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it.
Thanks to all the callers who got in on this Friday. After the break, we'll go plaster bets of the day. There's 6 of them, and I intend to win more than 50% of them. How about that?
Would be 4.
Well, that's really good math.
Yeah. Don't make me do math on the air, George, please.
Okay. Fair enough. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
The George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
All right, George, you want me to show the bet of the day?
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, let's take a peek at what happened last night. Did you watch the whole game?
Yeah. Even though they gave up a bunch of points, that was Detroit's best defensive effort in a while.
Yeah.
That was a gut check for Dan Campbell and that crew to sort of say, hey, we're not dead yet. That was a good win for them.
They answered the bell, that's for sure. I really think this Detroit team is a little bit better on offense when he started calling the plays.
I do too.
So I think they put up 50 plus in his first time calling plays. They put up 44 last night. So
getting Amon-Ra St. Brown back seems to make all the difference in the world. I've started to believe that he and Smith and Jigba in Seattle are right now maybe your best 2 wide receivers in football.
Amon-Ra's tough as nails, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
so let's go where we're going, and I'm going to start at the top. For those who can see our list, you can see where I'm going. Those of you who can't, here goes. I'm taking Tulane tonight. They're the home team, and they're getting 3 against a North Texas team that'll put up a lot of points, but not going to play a lot of defense. Tulane is the more sound fundamental team. I think they win the game, and I don't think they should have been the underdog at home.
I don't think so either. And John Sumrall, this is his last go with them. I don't think they're going to disappoint him.
Well, it may not be the last go, because if they win, they're going to get in the playoff.
Well, yeah. Last hoorah with John Sumrall as the man leading their program. That's what I meant to say.
I'm taking Western Michigan minus 1.5 against Miami of Ohio. Exactly why am I doing that? I'm not sure, but I am.
Because you love the Broncos, that's why.
Yeah. Well, no, I love one set of Broncos we'll get to later. I'm taking Virginia minus 4 against Duke. There's a reason that Duke isn't going to get in the playoff if they win tomorrow night, and that's because they've lost on 5 separate occasions. Virginia, that's a pretty solid football team. And when Chandler Morris is healthy, and apparently he will be tomorrow night,
Yep.
they're pretty good. I'm taking Virginia minus the 4.
I like that. I don't understand why so many people are picking Duke. They got in by the skin of their teeth. They're not exactly a good football team.
Okay.
So I'm going Virginia too.
Let's go to the 4th game. I'm taking Georgia in the Georgia Dome. Well, I guess it's Mercedes-Benz now.
Yeah, RIP at the Georgia Dome. Gone way too soon.
So I'm taking Georgia. This is the 2nd week in a row they will have played there after beating Georgia Tech. I'm taking them minus 2.5 against Bama. Now, a lot of people have got a lot of different scenarios that they're tossing out there. Number one, I believe that the game will be close, and so I don't think it's going to come up. But if Georgia were to beat Alabama in double digits, then if I'm Alabama, I'm a little more worried.
Yeah, no, and people are going to make a a big deal about this because Bama, it doesn't matter who's been a head coach, Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer, has had Georgia's number. I think Georgia gets it done, and I think what they're going to need to happen to get it done is utilize their wide receivers because they have a lot of talent at wide receiver, which normally we would not say about Georgia. We'd say they got to run the football well, which is obviously a key component, but they got to get the ball to Zachariah Branch for sure.
Auburn brought the kitchen sink with some level of success against Alabama's offensive line. It would not surprise me if Georgia does the same and loads up the kitchen sink to go after Ty Simpson. The two pro games that I'm going to give you look like this. I'm taking Denver on the road -7.5 against a Vegas team that I don't think's got anything left. I think they will get all over Geno Smith. I will be very surprised if Denver has trouble in Vegas.
Denver Broncos, legit Super Bowl contenders. I want the audience to remember I said that. December 5th, 2025. Denver Broncos, legit Super Bowl contenders.
What do you mean by it, legit?
Well, because think about it. We may get a playoff. Now, this is highly unlikely that it plays out this way, but if the Super Bowl or the playoffs were to start today, we'd be without Patrick Mahomes. We'd be without Joe Burrow. We may even be without Josh Allen and Lamar.
Yeah.
So it's wide open, wide open.
Which brings us to our last play. We've got 6 total. The world is picking Houston this weekend, this Sunday night, to upset Kansas City at Arrowhead. Not so fast. Kansas City, they've had about 10 days to sort of regroup after the loss to Dallas. In the end, Houston never closes the deal against KC. They had them on the ropes a year ago in the playoff game. Didn't close the deal.
Yep.
Sunday night, they're not going to close the deal. I'm taking the Chiefs -3.
It's an Arrowhead. That's all I needed to know.
Should be a pretty good environment.
Oh, absolutely. It always is.
Okay, give them one last look as people file in to Bridgestone Arena.
Look at there. We got the teams warming up on the floor. We got Kentucky behind us, Gonzaga on the far end. I see Jimmy Dykes over there getting ready for the game. Him and Carl Ravage.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's exciting.
Want to thank Brooks Downing and his team for putting up with us and giving us the band stage to do the show today. So first of all, thanks to Brooks. Thanks to Adam English from the Sounds for joining us. And, of course, thanks to Watson Brown for his weekly visit. We'll be back with you Monday at 3 o'clock. We'll get into Titans analysis and a college football playoff that finally we will know who's in and who's out. See you Monday.
Shop Christmas deals at Electronic Express now. Whether you're upgrading the kitchen, refreshing the laundry room, or choosing the perfect appliances and housewares gifts, now's the time to save. Get up to 50%